Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS Zone. And this is the TARDIS Zone Talks. And, in the last couple of weeks, Miss Whittaker has been talking because she obviously has a new show. Oh, by the way, her new show has got 100% critic review on Rotten Tomatoes. So apparently she's in something successful. Now, I haven't watched it myself, so I don't know if it is or not. But I did say, that she would do better elsewhere. She just wasn't a good fit for Doctor Who. And I will stick with that. People blame the scripts, and yet scripts are at fault. But Jodie Whittaker herself was the wrong cast, and if you were going to cast a female as the Doctor, but it seems she can't let go, even with the success that she's had. It seems like Miss Whittaker can't let go about her time on Doctor Who. 2 weeks ago, we did an article that she actually that was actually put out in relation to the pressure that she felt, and she had a swipe again at male fans because she couldn't help herself. But you see, the thing about it is that Miss Whittaker needs to understand you've got to take your responsibility for your era being bad. The simple fact of the matter is, if you actually had, I can't say balls because you're a woman, but if you had some cojones, then maybe you would have actually stood up to your pal Chris Chibnall and demanded better scripts, because the scripts were absolutely awful. But even with awful scripts, and we've seen Peter Capaldi, Matt Smith, every Doctor in the new era has been in an episode that has been rubbish, but their acting has elevated it, and it hasn't been a total write-off. Not one bad script did Jodie Whittaker get did she elevate that script in any way. Right? Now, this interesting article. Now, listen, why am I reading this? Well, I'm reading it because I find it very fascinating that since all the rumours of the show has disappeared, right? Now, I know Jodie Whittaker is I think she's on a press, a media thing, because of our new show, right? Which is fair enough. And she will be asked some questions on Doctor Who. I get that. But I just find it very convenient with all of the stuff that's coming out about Doctor Who. Oh, by the way, I can't say anything, but I was told something about casting, right? And all I'm just going to say is I'm absolutely sick, for starters, right? I'm absolutely sick. And the person that told me this is 100% reliable, right? But we're all in for a bit of a shock. Let's just say there's I can't say anymore because I'm sworn to secrecy. But let's just say how can I put this? Let's just say everybody is going to laugh when they see this person in Doctor Who, and it'll explain a lot as well. Absolutely will explain a lot, and I can't wait because the backlash is going to be sensational, and there will be a backlash. But yeah, look, I already know that season 2 is going to be a write-off because they filmed at the same time as season 1, and season 1 wasn't great. And any logical person will understand that, well, if they filmed season 1 and season 2 back to back, well, then how can you expect the quality to actually improve? And I don't see the quality improving whatsoever. It might look lovely. The German trailer was better than the trailer that we got, but even then, right, it looks lovely. That's why some people out there are raving about the trailer, because it looks beautiful. There is no denying that Doctor Who looks the best it's ever looked, but that's not what us Doctor Who fans are in it for. We're in it because of the writing, the character development. That's what made Doctor Who unique. It didn't have the budget of your Star Treks back in the day in the 60s. It didn't have the big budget of all of these sci-fi shows that it was competing with. And yeah, why it stood out was because of the writing. Anyway, season 2 is not far away, and the sooner it's aired and the quicker it's gone, in my opinion, the better. But let's get on to this. Let's see who's in the chat first before I get into this article. The article is in the link description if you want to go and check out the article in the link description. And I'm sorry about the StreamYard logo there. I don't think you can get rid of them. I think it's permanently stays on. I don't know if it'll let me. Hold on. I'm going to try this one last time. No. I have to upgrade to put the TARDIS Zone Talks Brandon in the corner. That's ridiculous. They should at least, like, they've added all new features now, right? I've got these new features. You think they could just give me the Brandon? Like, what's the big deal? You know, but then people complain that actually bought it, I suppose. But, you know, I had a good run. Let's see who's in the chat. Oh, we've got Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the chat. We've got TARDIS Time in the chat. We even got the President in the chat. President Lemon. We got Problem Being. Nice to see you, Lee. Nice to see you. But I just find, as I said, going back to, you know, the article and Jodie Whittaker speaking up, I just personally think it's convenient. But there's a reason I want to actually read this article, because I find her comments coming out now when we're talking about Ncuti Gatwa's future. I just find them a bit, are we being set up? Are we being told now that Ncuti is gone? And I'll explain when I read the article. Obviously, when I read the line, you will probably already know what I'm going to say. So let's get into it. As I said, the article's in the link description if you want to check it out for yourselves. And then maybe, right, because as you know, I'm on a time limit now, maybe I'll be able to get 1 or 2 years on just to get a brief opinion off you guys, you know, if anybody wants to come on, but it'll only be briefly, because I have to watch me time now, as you know. So Jodie Whittaker sent Doctor Who successor Ncuti Gatwa forward warning in WhatsApp. So apparently some of the cast are in a WhatsApp group. We've already known that. Mandip Gill let us slip. Do you remember during the Whittaker era that they were all in a WhatsApp group? So there's nothing new there. So Jodie Whittaker has opened up about her time on Doctor Who and the advice she gave to her successor, Ncuti Gatwa, before she left the show. And this article is by Matt Jackson. Jodie Whittaker reveals she sent a 4-word warning to Ncuti Gatwa when he was announced as successor on Doctor Who. Jodie, 42, played the Time Lord between 2017 and 2022. Now, the article's a bit misleading because her successor was actually David Tennant, not Ncuti Gatwa. And this is the thing that I actually have found disrespectful in terms of Ncuti Gatwa, is the fact that, right, they decided to change the race of the Doctor. Okay, some will agree with that, some won't. But then you don't give him front and center. You know, you bring back David Tennant because you want to, you know, whatever the reason was, right? Some of us believed it might have been, well, the show has been so shit, bringing David Tennant in will stabilise it for Ncuti, and then when Ncuti takes over, be grand. But then we saw The Boy Generation, and then that kind of like left me thinking, well, if this show goes to shit, well, then all they'll do is just bring David Tennant back. But I think it's so bad now that even bringing David Tennant back would be toxic. Now, there has been a couple of articles in relation to David Tennant, which I will be covering. Some coming out actually against David Tennant coming back to Doctor Who, which is nice to see. Because it's about time, because we need to have that conversation. I don't want David Tennant in Doctor Who again. I'm done with David Tennant. Do you know what I mean? He's had enough now in Doctor Who. He doesn't need to be in it anymore. There's other doctors out there if you want to start bringing back and introducing other doctors to the newer audience or whatever. But David Tennant's time on Who is over. Anyway, she admits she sent the sex education star Jodi a shit ton of WhatsApp messages ahead of him taking the role. Now they've actually censored out shit, but I wanted to say it. So she sent a shit ton of messages to him on WhatsApp. Jodi is reported to have made 3 serious and out deal with showrunner Chris Chibnall, who left in 2022. Now, listen, they're still going with the narrative that Jodi left of her own accord and Chris Chibnall left of their own accord, right? So you're going to hear a few lies here from the media. We know exactly what happened, right? She was to stay longer. She got booted. So did he, right? End of story. Anybody doesn't believe that, doesn't matter. Don't care. Everybody that was here at the time, right? We know Chaos in Cardiff happened. It was downhill after that, and they never really got on after that. End of story. So she left. She said that she was great, right? And while she admits, right? So here's a line, not the line. So she says, and while she admits she left on her own terms, right? Inverted commas. Jodi still felt grief-stricken afterwards. So she was grief-stricken. She was mourning Doctor Who. You don't mourn, I'm sorry, but you don't mourn if you're leaving on your own terms. Yeah, you'll have a bit of sadness. Everybody does, and I'll admit that, right? But how many years is it now and you're still banging on about it? Nah, you were booted, woman. You were booted, and it'll come out in the end. Always does. You were booted, all right? We all know you were booted, along with that snake, Chibnall. You know, the hack who got rid of Peter Capaldi. Remember that. Never forgive that, by the way. Right? Peter Capaldi was fucking thrown into the trash heap. Right? He was all excited for Chibnall coming in because he walked with him on Torchwood. Right? And then within, what was it? 6 weeks later, then he goes to a radio station, breaking down in tears, saying that he's leaving the show. No. He was pushed for her, and she was kicked, and that's what she deserved. In an interview with The Times, she shared the advice she gave to the 32-year-old Jodi. I still can't believe my time is over. I was absolutely grief-stricken when it ended, even though it was my choice. I felt like I'd given myself 20 paper cuts. I mean, that's a bit of a weird thing to say. So you're promoting self-harm there. Well done. I mean, you know, I don't think there's a logical fucking brain cell in your brain. But I'll read that line again. I felt like I'd given myself 20 paper cuts. I mean, come on. She's promoting self-harm there. And anybody that says any different is an idiot. She definitely is there. Right? I love this so much. But oh my God, the lines are so hard to learn. Hold on. I love this so much, but oh my God, the lines are so hard to learn. Listen, isn't that why you went to acting college for, or whatever, the university, wherever you went? I mean, all Whittaker fans used to throw that in their face. You went to a prestigious acting school, right, where you learn lines, you learn your craft, and you're telling everybody now that the lines for Doctor Who were hard to learn. Well, then what are you acting for? What are you acting for? Right? Now, I will say this, by the way, you know, she's not the only person in history to have difficulty reading the lines. It's actually common knowledge that Marlon Brando read off cards, because, well, he was just, I don't know if it was laziness with him, but he couldn't fucking read these lines either and had to have them fucking held up for him when he was doing fucking scenes. Since leaving Doctor Who, Jodie has been busy with roles in the Australian six-part TV series One Night on Paramount. Hold on, where's this? Hold on. See, I hate when they do this. Why has half of the article disappeared? Are they? All right, hold on. That's stupid the way that goes. She was grief stricken, as we said, but she couldn't learn the lines. That's. I'm sorry, I'm still flabbergasted by that. I mean, she's an actress, and she found the lines hard. What, you found it hard to do doctor speak? See, this is what I'm saying. She was never the right person for this role, no matter what people say, right? And the fact that she got as long as she did, along with her fucking boss who made the decision to bring her in, is absolutely baffling to me, because we wouldn't be in the position that we're in today if it wasn't for those two gobshites. Oh, it is. It just goes. But what was your four? Where's the four letter? Yeah, but where's the four? Why, I read all of this article now, and you're telling me that you're not going to tell me what you said to Shooty. It was something like, I did see the comment. It was something like it ends very quickly, or goes real quick, or something stupid like that. Since Jodie Whittaker has left, actually, she's been busy with roles in the Australian six-part Australian TV series One Night on Paramount, the BBC drama Time, and more recently Netflix hit Toxic Town. So she's in a show called Toxic Town. I mean, how fucking. I mean, you can't make this shit up. The latter, based on the Corby toxic waste case, has been a critical success, boosting a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes, which we talked about right at the very start of the stream. The future of Doctor Who appeared to be in jeopardy following the departure of Jodie Whittaker, with recent rumours suggesting that the iconic series might face cancellation by BBC. However, these claims have been robustly refuted by the broadcaster, reports Yorkshire Live, and we all did see that statement from the BBC. It wasn't actually a robust rebuttal. What it actually was is what they said was, from what they've said from the very beginning, is that no decision on Doctor Who's future will be made until after Series 2. So, it wasn't robust, but the hold on, I want to get the actual line, because it's the line itself. I know there's the Yorkshire Live article as well. I do know who posted it on their X account, so I'm going in there now, and I'm going to go in and get this line, because I'm reading off the Express. I should have got the original fucking article, but that's my bad. Oh, it's the Examiner Live. No, it's not. See, it goes Examiner Live and then goes into Yorkshire Live. I haven't got a clue the way you do things over there in England. What's the for? Here we go. Blah, blah, blah. She was grief stricken. It's the same fucking article. What, have they just copied and pasted the article off someone else? Oh yeah, here she's. This is the. So Jodie revealed she had a forward warning for 32-year-old Gatwa. Speaking to the time, she recalls what was in her WhatsApp to her successor. The main thing is it goes so quick. So they wrote a whole article on that line. The main thing, it goes so quick. But I thought it was very interesting that she comes out with that line when Shooty Gatwa's future is actually up in the air. Is that her kind of, or the BBC slowly putting out articles? Because remember, Jodie Whittaker might be working on the show anymore. But I say, look, we saw that photograph with her with RTD when he was announced he was coming back, and we were all saying, "Oh, I hope to God he doesn't bring her back." Do you remember? Well, I wouldn't put it past RTD. Do us a favour. I know you're on a press tour. You're going to be asked things about Doctor Who. Throw in about, how quick this journey goes and all this bollocks. Because look at the articles after Chibnall came on board, and then all of a sudden then there were articles on Peter Capaldi and the fact that they were attacking his age and attacking his stamina. And Lee will actually back me up on this, because we were calling out all of these fans because they start being, they talk about be kind. This was the big thing that me and Lee used to throw at them. You all keep saying be kind. They use the doctor's quote, be kind, and they were never kind. And they were going around and attacking Peter Capaldi for his age, right? Now, they'd already attacked him for his age when he'd been cast, but when Chibnall came on board, articles start coming out. I remember it very well. Articles start coming out. Does Peter Capaldi still have the stamina? There's a lot of running involved in Doctor Who. And then 6 weeks later, then he goes on radio and announces he's leaving, crying, by the way. Absolutely devastated, right? He was pushed. And this is the reason why he hasn't come back to Doctor Who, because he's being asked, right? And he always tries to be nice about it. But he's not coming back to Doctor Who after the way he was treated. He wanted to stay in the role a lot longer. He would have stayed, I'm being honest with you, he would have stayed in the role until BBC finally said, you know what, maybe you are getting it, and he'd agree himself, right? And he'd say, you know what, yeah, I've had me run, let's end it here. But not the way it ended. There's no way he was only staying for as long as he stayed. He was staying for another at least 2 or 3 seasons, I reckon. Right? He would have been up there. Well, David Tennant has come back now, but he would have been up until that point. If I reckon, if he had got those seasons, he would have been the longest serving New Who Doctor. And I think he wanted that, and he did deserve another season. He deserved the. Listen, Peter Capaldi's era, yeah, it was inconsistent, would be the word, right? I think Moffat was trying to find how he was going to do Peter's Doctor, and I think he got the balance right the next season after the 4th season, right? And I do believe the show was look at. People criticise Series 10, right? But Series 10 is actually very good, right? Yeah, there's a few wokey things in it. BBC forcing that on Moffat. But Season 10 is actually good. I actually like Season 10. I openly admit I like Season 10. And I think a Season 11, Season 12, he was hitting I'm telling you, man, he was full steam. We would have had best Doctor and the best years under Capaldi. I do honestly believe that. I do honestly believe that. I think as it went on, and he'd get more control, he'd get more say. And Peter Capaldi cared about this show. People forget that. Jodie Whittaker didn't care about Doctor Who. Even Ncuti Gatwa doesn't care about Doctor Who. He doesn't, no matter what they say. He doesn't care about Doctor Who. Because if the rumours are true and he wants to get out, how is that showing respect? How can anybody say that he loves Doctor Who? He doesn't love Doctor Who. He doesn't give 2 shits about Doctor Who. He'll move on. And people in Hollywood, for some weird reason, want to work with him. You know, I think he wants to be a Hollywood star. And who would blame him? He has an opportunity to do it. I wouldn't knock anybody for the opportunity. But I don't think he wants to be typecast. And this is the thing. We need to be getting someone in that doesn't mind. And I don't think Peter Capaldi would have got more work after Doctor Who if he had stayed longer anyway. Peter Capaldi also had his music to fall back on. You know what I mean? Peter Capaldi would have been fine. Right? And he is. Look at what he's done since. He is fine. But there's a little bit of me that wishes that we had got another at least another 2 seasons for me of Peter Capaldi. I think once you got rid of Clara and you had Bill Potts, you know, I would have loved to see another season with Bill Potts and the Doctor, because I did like that dynamic, the student professor relationship. That was the way that it reminded me of old school Doctor Who, even though the episodes were modern. Right, that dynamic, and I think it would have worked really well if it hadn't have turned out. Obviously, it turned out differently because Moffat was leaving. But think about what Series 10 probably would have looked like. It probably wouldn't have looked like the way it looks today because if Moffat was staying on, then we would have got the Series 11. What are you even? Could you stop it, please? Sit down. Jesus Christ, he'd give you a heart attack, he would. It was a bit like Tom and Leela, says PD Rich. He deserved another couple of series at least, says Scott Stavros. Cinnamon says Capaldi was great, Doctor, but bad stories. I don't think they're all bad. You know, I've kind of reassessed, as I said, Moffat. You know, there's a lot of there's a lot of things. He tried to be too clever, right? That's Moffat's problem there. He tries to be too clever, but when he does keep it simple, and he did a lot of the time, you know, Crimson Horror, for example, you know, that's up there, top tier. I think frightening episode as well. Matt Smith's performance in that is absolutely fantastic as well. Everybody's performance in that is brilliant. We've had Heaven Sent off him, which is probably the best. Then we have had the worst of a Hellbent. But you know, I would say with Moffat, when he kept it simple, he was a better showrunner. But when he tried to be too clever, I think a lot of the canon, not canon, a lot of these plot lines seem to go nowhere. And then obviously he tried to, you know, tie it up in a nice little bow with the crack in the wall and other devices like that. But, you know, yeah, people will criticize. But look, the bottom line is that if you ask fans now, would you just go back to the Moffat era right now, knowing what you know now? A lot of you probably would. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I think Stephen Moffat is burnt out. We've seen that since he's come back to Doctor Who. He's burnt out like RTD. The two of them don't have it anymore, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. They've went on to have success with other shows, but that's what they need to be doing. Other shows, other projects. That's where their brain sparks up again. You know what I mean? With Doctor Who, when they come back, there's no excitement there. There's nothing. It's the same old shit just repackaged because they have no new ideas. That's the thing. They don't. And when the both of them left, that's exactly why they said they left, because they'd burnt out. They were done with it. They should never have returned. I mean, yeah, look, people will say Bill Potts telling everybody she was a lesbian every 2 minutes. Yeah, nobody liked that. But Bill Potts' character overall was a very interesting character, right? She wasn't the I see. That's the see again. This was the diversity, inclusion, and LGBT shite that they were inserting in Doctor Who. I don't think Moffat personally wanted Bill to be going around telling everybody that she was a lesbian every 2 minutes. If you look at his other companions, right, you could tell it's not a kind of a Moffat companion, right? It was insistence of the BBC that the character be a certain trait, right? Certain, but a label, because that's what people are defined by nowadays, labels. But he tried to write her well, and let's be honest with you. Sorry. There's just loads of shit going on around me. Why can't I even say it? Why can't I even say though? Sorry, me speech is getting a bit. I don't know what it is, man. But I've noticed some words that I was able to pronounce, I'm finding harder to pronounce now for some weird reason. Series 7 is where it dipped for me. I mean, look, when Moffat, what season did Moffat split into? Wasn't that season 6? Was that season 6? Or was that season? Hold on, which one did he split? The season that he split, I think wasn't it season 2? It was the second season. I think it was Let's Kill Hitler and stuff was in that one, wasn't it? When he split them, that was the biggest mistake that he made, right? And look, Moffat has better stories, but you are right. It's. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. There is a lot of he's got some standout stories, right? It's when he did the bigger ones or the two-parters. That's where he got complicated. That's where he got complicated. I mean, you could even see it back in season 1 of RTD's era. I always had a problem with this, but everybody lives saying, where the bomb falls, and the doctor does the whole thing with the nanites, right? That was Stephen Moffat's optimism there. Everybody. I thought that was a bit of a cop out, to be quite fucking honest with you. And then the people reverting back. That would have made that what would have made that episode darker is the fact is if the doctor failed. Well, not failed, saved the day, but there wasn't a happy ending. Because here's the thing, whether people like it or not, there is no happy endings with war, right? So, there's a couple of opportunities, Jordan, especially with Christopher Eccleston. If they hadn't done his, I can understand why they didn't go dark with his doctor, right? Because they were trying to get people back watching the show again. But I think it's I think it was a missed opportunity, to be quite honest with you. That's why when Peter Capaldi was cast, a lot of people complain about Series 8 because it's too dark, right? But that's the way I wanted his doctor. That's the route I wanted his doctor to go down with Moffat. Now, obviously, he changed it up for Series 9 and he got the balance between him being dark and being humorous, which I kind of think, in my opinion, and I still love Capaldi's Doctor, it kind of diluted his Doctor a little bit from Series 8. So I would have loved the Series 8 version of the Doctor to continue, because think about it then when we got the Heaven Sent right? He's dark. He's lost someone again. I mean, Heaven Sent is a masterpiece. But could you imagine if that thing was an actual dark story? You know, the Doctor gone absolutely crazy mad, right? Unhinged, proper unhinged. I mean, I think we'd be talking about Heaven Sent for decades, decades. It's just there's been missed opportunities to do something really special with some of these actors that we've had. And I think Chris Eccleston and Peter Capaldi fit the mold of they would have played absolutely brilliant, edgier doctors with a bit of a dark streak going through them because of all of the things that have happened to them. Because, you know, think about it, right? So we do Christopher Eccleston, right? He comes in, he's at the losing, the time war, blah, 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 right? He's a bit unhinged. But as the series goes on, obviously bringing David Tennant, then there's a little bit of healing that goes on. And then to Matt Smith, then little bit more healing. And then by the time you get to Peter Capaldi, then he's lost so many fucking people that he's just completely snapped. And then that first scene that he comes, instead of doing the whole River Thames with the fucking dinosaur, you know, you could have had the Doctor in a fucking insane asylum or something, and he breaks out, and then all chaos is gonna break loose, man. I thought about these things. Yeah, you have to do something completely different with Doctor Who. So, you know, even the fans of the show, you know, you've got to catch them off guard now. Right? So you got to do something really, really out there, right? But something that's not gonna piss off everybody, obviously, but something that they least expect. Right? This musical shit that RTD is doing with it is not exactly my idea of changing it up, you know. But again, BBC have to be willing to take a risk and do something different with Doctor Who instead of trying the same old shit again or trying to chase an audience. I just don't get it anymore. But look, as I said, you know, you're going to get a lot of the distraction articles. And this one for me was a bit of a distraction. And it's distracting you away from all of the noise surrounding Doctor Who. So remember, you know, look out because you'll find the odd obscure article hidden away somewhere talking about Doctor Who that'll go under the radar. So keep an eye out because this is a tactic that BBC have used plenty of times, especially Peter Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker leaving. I remember the flurry of articles when it came out about Jodie Whittaker leaving, and the media were in panic mode. You know, you had Radio Times, you had Digital Spy, you had Screen Rant. No, she's not going. She's going nowhere, right? Because the Sun and the Mirror had reported. And by the way, people go, look, I hate the Sun newspaper. It's a scummy newspaper, right? Everybody knows that, right? But the Sun and the Mirror reported on Jodie Whittaker's departure before any other media outlet did. So for those criticising, because I know the left side of the fandom have been criticising these publications, right? But the bottom line is that these publications have been spot on time and time again. So dismiss them at your own peril, to be quite honest with you. You know, there isn't real, look at, there is no smoke without fire, right? And the fact of the matter is that there is fire because there's smoke, right? Because if there wasn't smoke, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about Doctor Who's future, Shooty Gatwa's future, and reading all of these different opinions from different journalists about how the show needs to stay woke and all of this other nonsense that they're pushing. As I said, there's a lot of sellouts in this fandom, and I blame them just as much as the showrunners, because if fans who are in higher up in the fandom because they're closer to the production team and all, you know, the fact that these people don't call out what's going on with this show, you know, is absolutely disgusting to me, and they're part of the problem. You know, if this IP has ever to recover, the one thing that I would change is, and I know this is a thing that makes Doctor Who unique, is the fact the relationship with the fandom. You know, they've always tried to get the fandom involved. But if I was running the things and say I owned the IP, that would be one thing that I'd be getting out of the show, is the fan influence, right? Those influencers that have sold their soul just to get in on the show so they can, you know, boast and all to their friends. Oh, look at blah, 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 all of this crap, right? They're the people I'd get out, right, of having nothing to do with this show. They don't speak for fans, right? They don't speak for fans, and they're in a privileged position to do so, but they don't speak on behalf of fans. They lick the showrunner's arse so they can get their little, as I said, their little 30 pieces of silver and sell out this fandom. And they're disgusting. And I won't stop calling people out. Oh, and by the way, I just want to say one more thing. I'm not starting that in here, but it needs to be said, right? It needs to be said. So, Star Whovian, some of you will know him if you are on X, right? Or Twitter, as it used to be called. Mr. TARDIS Reviews went on an insane rant where he compared Star Whovian. Sorry, I nearly gave it away there. Star Whovian. He compared Star Whovian to a school. The word that I just used, I'll put it in the chat there, right? Right. So this fella is going around now. He's been doing it for years. Lee will back me up on this. He's done it to me as well. That's why he has me blocked. He did it to other people in the past as well, right? But I would like you to go and actually report that stream, because he's actually there's a thing on YouTube. It's called deceptive practices. Now, you can also get him for slander as well, to be quite honest with you. But to accuse a fan because you don't be right, all Star Whovian did is he put up a photograph. You all remember the famous photograph of Jodie Whittaker in her costume with all the Jodie stands. Do you remember, on the stage? And Star Whovian just wrote up a post and said this was the demographic, something to that, the demographic of Jodie Whittaker's fan base. And then he goes on an unhinged rant on his channel and compares Star Whovian to a school, what I said in the chat there, right? This man, right, is one of the reasons why this fandom is so toxic, right? And this is the thing, right? This is the thing. It can't be left to go unchallenged, right? It can't be left to go unchallenged, because this is why so many fans have left this fandom, because of people like him, right? And as I told you, they're just as much as responsible for the downhill of the fandom as they are for the show, because they defend all of these showrunners too. And anybody that doesn't agree with their leftist ideology, right, is automatically labelled either the N-word or some other fucking nonsense, right? Now, These people have to be kicked out of the fandom. They're only part of this fandom because they like the reward that they'll get if they keep continuing to back the show up and lick these showrunners' arses and not call out the show, right? They're worse than those sellouts, right, that write the show. But you know what? He called Gary out as well, right? He has this hard on for Gary as well. But the thing about it is that he's the reason, along with a lot of others that he hangs around with, are responsible for the toxic nature of this fandom. It's not people like me. I didn't make the Doctor Who fandom toxic, right? When I put up my opinions about Jodie Whittaker, I was attacked, right, by them, right? They're the toxic ones and always have been the toxic ones, right? All I've ever done is stand up to these people. And you know what? I've lost some friends along the way for standing up for myself, right? And I'll never apologise for that, by the way. I'll always stand up for myself. If someone makes threats against my missus, makes threats against me or my family, or comes after me and slanders me, I'm going to defend myself, right? It's not that I'm out looking for drama, right? You can all see what have I been doing the last couple of weeks here on this channel here, putting up music and putting up the odd video, and I've done a stream, right? I'm not talking about anybody out there, right? You know who I'm talking about, the other. And he's still going on, right? He's still going on making threats and stuff, right? And people just expect me to stay quiet all the time. I'll never stop calling these people out. And if anybody has a problem with it, you know, the bottom line is I've said to everybody now, right? You just need to let me deal with my problems with these people, and nobody out there, nobody should be getting involved, right? Simple as that. And if that person tries to involve you, well, then I'll say what I said to plenty of other people out there. There's a thing called the block button. Start fucking using it. And by the way, this is not aimed at anybody in particular, right? I just want to get it out there that I have every right to defend myself against false accusations, and I have every right to defend myself when someone makes threats against my wife, me, and my family. Okay? Simple as that. I didn't ask for this. I think people forget that. I didn't ask for this. Right? This is the burden that I carry because I spoke up for Doctor Who fans, and I spoke up for this show because I care. Right? And I'll always care. Someone wrote in, I saw Lee actually responded to him, but I didn't. Someone wrote up a comment, it's just a show. Obviously, Lee gave the response that I would have gave anyway. But as I've always said to you, to these people, it is just a show. To us and people that have grown up with the show, it's more than just a show. They don't have the emotional attachment that we have, right? They don't, and they never will have it, so they don't get it. Yeah, I do agree with you, Daniel. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there with that one. That comment, I'll put it up on the front there, because I do agree with you. Absolutely spot on. You know, there's been a few people have let him get away with it, and that's why he's gotten away with it basically, and continues to do it until someone say, listen, I'm in a financial straits here, as you could see, because I can't even afford my StreamYard anymore. I mean, the stuff he said about me, if I had money, he'd be sued a long time ago. right? You can't call people or label people something because you don't agree with them. Listen, I don't agree. Look, I'm gone past calling, you know, well, I won't say names as such, but I don't get as angry with leftists anymore. To be quite honest with you, because the thing about it is, you've got to understand they lack the intelligence and they lack the balance that the rest of us do, and they don't have their moral compass is way off compared to ours. And they've been brainwashed, half of them. So it's not really half of the half of them. It's not their fault. The other half are obviously do know what they're doing, and they're the dangerous ones. But we got a lot of half wits in the Doctor Who fandom. Oh, we have another one as well, and I'm going to mention them as well because I just want them to know, like I've been saying, what they've been doing as well. So you have groups like on not Facebook, I think they're on Facebook as well. Positivity Who, they call themselves. But Positivity Who has been gone criticising people that have criticised David Tennant and has been using some colourful language in relation to these people that have called out David Tennant. Listen, you might like David Tennant, fair enough, right? Because he stands, because Positivity Who, by the way, have a big trans flag, on their bio, so you know where they stand. So obviously they're gonna kiss David Tennant's ass, right? But they call themselves Positivity Who, and all they're doing is toxic positivity, as Cinnamon Toast Crunch has just wrote in there, and I'll put that up as well because that's deadly, but that's true. That's true. But a lot of these accounts are starting up again. Right, they're starting up again, and the reason why they're actually starting up again is because obviously all the news surrounding Doctor Who, and again they're throwing their toys out of their pram because as far as they're concerned, BBC, Disney, or whoever owns the show or whoever's running the show at the time needs to bow down to all of their demands. And now that they think that might go again, they're lashing out now at anybody. As I said before, a lot of these accounts are also on the app Blue Sky, and Blue Sky is full of undesirables. I have to be careful because I'm on YouTube, but undesirables who like to seek the attention of children, and a lot of these Doctor Who accounts are actually on that app, along with former cast members as well. I mean, imagine going onto a platform like that, and then coming on X and claiming that you're, morally superior than the rest of us. I actually think it's quite fucking ironic. These people are the biggest fucking hypocrites that we have, not just in society, but in fandoms as well. It's everywhere. It's fucking everywhere. But look, there's people fighting back. And by the way, just before I do, I'm heading off now shortly in about 5 minutes. But I was on the Spacebook there over the weekend, and we were supposed to talk pop culture, but behind the scenes we were actually talking politics. And Dan says, "You know what? We'll just go live now and we'll talk." And we had a very interesting conversation. The lot of us on this current state of the world and all the stuff that's going on around us. And as I said, on that night, be under no illusion, politics and the entertainment industry are intertwined and have been for a very, very long time. And you can't talk about one without having to talk about that. That's the way it is now. It's the both of them are interlinked, and maybe my biggest mistake was just focusing on the pop culture side of it as well, because then I would have been aware of what was going on in my own country until it was too fucking late. But obviously I'm doing something about it now. But if I had been more aware of what was going on, then and a lot of the Irish people as well, a lot of us at home, like, we probably be able to deal with all the stuff that we're dealing with in today's society. Like it's crazy. But look, it's there's few interesting weeks ahead anyway. And as I said, there's a couple of articles on David Tennant. There's one in particular, I think it's from Screen Rant. I don't know if it's Screen Rant or Digital Spy, but I'll get it up. I'll probably do a video on that one, so look out for that, because I could do the video on my phone, and I could do as long as I want on my phone, and then upload it through my phone onto the computer, and then I'm not actually using me StreamYard hours, so that'll help. So look out for that, because I'll do that David Tennant article. And also, I just want to give a special shout out to the Ting King, who does be in the chat with Cinnamon and a couple of others that we have in there. The Ting King is the one that's been finding these articles. So I want to give the Ting King a shout out, because, you know, he always seems to find these articles. He's even found articles from months before, because obviously, you know, a lot of fans were getting giddy over the Disney Plus statement, a Disney Plus statement that was actually made last year, but the media only picked up on it this year, and all running with that, and then people out there gloating, saying that Doctor Who on Disney Plus is safe, when that actual statement was made last year. It's nothing that none of us didn't know. Of course, Disney Plus made a statement along with BBC. You know, when the show's future is in question, of course, these people are going to make statements. When the ratings are actually under question, well, then we see the media. We saw it during Jodie Whittaker's reign, you know, spinning the ratings so hard like that we were all getting dizzy, you know, and they're doing the same today. So there's nothing new here. Listen, Doctor Who's future is getting sorted one way or the other, right? And you know, when it's finally out there, then we'll know where we stand with the show. But for a lot of fans and a lot of people that I've been talking to, and when we were talking behind the scenes, we did talk about Doctor Who briefly, and you know, there was talks of people saying, you know, maybe a 10-year is needed, stuff like that. And I made the point, but if it does go away, it probably won't come back. That's a possibility too, and we've got to face that reality as well, you know. But I think a lot of fans are in agreement now, one way or the other, Doctor Who needs to be rested. And people will obviously have their own opinions on the time length of that. But, you know, that's where we sit. That's where we stand with this Doctor Who situation. So, look, I'll leave it there, guys. The missus is back from her walk, so I'm going to chill out now and get some stuff done. Chill out? I mean, I'm going to get some stuff done. So, and I will try to get that article up a little bit later on. It'll probably be after 7, right? So look out for it. I'll probably upload it around 7:30, and then it'll take about, because it'll be a 20-minute odd video. You know, yourselves goes through all the checks, all of that, and then it'll be uploaded then. Hopefully by 8:30, there'll be another video on the channel. So look out for that. It's in relation to David Tennant, and the article suggests that basically David Tennant shouldn't come back to Doctor Who, and we're going to explore that, and we're going to read it, and we're going to give our opinion on it too. Until then, guys, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day and or morning, wherever you are in the world. And I'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. And thank you to the new people that have subscribed to the channel. I haven't seen any new faces in the chat yet. So if you just want to introduce yourselves sometime, please do. It'd be nice to hear from you. But thank you anyway. Really do appreciate the support. And obviously, if you're watching this after the fact, or if there's a point that you didn't make in the live chat, go into the comment section there. Just be pretty active and give your opinion on that as well. So we will talk to you all very soon. And listen, we'll try to do a live stream next week with a couple of panelists, but it'll be for an hour. We have to stick strict, right? So leave it with me, and I'll talk to you all very soon indeed. Bye bye. Have a good one.